simple. Once you go in, you don't come out.
Your rules are really beginning to annoy me.
Cancelled video games are such a fascinating piece of history. It's bad enough when ideas for a game get cut due to time constraints or delays, but how about an entire game getting the plug pulled on it? Not to mention a game that got rather far into its development cycle. A game approved by famous directors John Carpenter and writer Nick Castle, and legendary actor Kurt Russell, who would have had direct involvement with its production. This is the story of the cancelled hidden gem, Snake Plissken's First Escape. Before we dive into the forgotten realm of Snake's cancelled epic, let's take a crash course on this little franchise. Originally released in 1981, directed by John Carpenter. Yes, that John Carpenter. Escape from New York told the story of one SD Bob Snake Plissken, a former decorated war hero during World War III, now turned international criminal. Snake is tasked with rescuing the President of the United States from New York City. The film takes place in the at-the-time future of 1997, where the crime rate has risen to 400%. Because of this, the island of Manhattan has been turned into the world's largest maximum security prison. I'll leave it at that because this video isn't a review about the movie, and I recommend you watch it for yourself. 15 years later, this would be followed up by a sequel, Escape from LA. While Escape from New York was all about the suspense with danger lurking around every corner, Escape from LA is purely
90s as fuck.
It's cheesy, over the top, with bad special effects, but it's still entertaining as hell. To top off this franchise's history, take a good look at Snake Plissken and tell me who he reminds you of. If you guessed Solid Snake from Metal Gear Solid, you would be correct. Hideo Kojima, creator of Metal Gear, was a big fan of many American films, especially Escape from New York. Therefore, Snake Plissken became the inspiration for Solid Snake's design. Both movies just sort of came and left during their respective days of popularity. However, jumping ahead to the early 2000s, and none other than Namco Hometek would be taking the helm for this project. Set to release on Christmas 2005 for the PS2 and Xbox, originally under the title of Snake Plissken Chronicles, Snake Plissken's First Escape would have been a prequel to the movies, as the title reads, First Escape. John Carpenter, the director of the Escape duology, and Nick Castle, the co-writer of Escape from New York alongside Carpenter, approved the game's conception. These guys also created the concept of Snake Plissken himself. Judging by the surviving gameplay footage, the game would involve great hand-to-hand and weapon combat, boss fights, explosions, minigames, and more, all of which was stated in the trailer and box art for the game. The box art itself seems to be based on the poster from Escape from LA. How could a game based on a cult classic greenlit by its director, co-writer, and actor get cancelled? First Escape's storyline was approved by everyone, including Deborah Hill. Deborah was the producer and co-writer of both Escape films and unfortunately passed away at the age of 54 due to colon cancer. She died on March 8, 2005, 9 months before the game was set to release. Mind you, production had begun in July 2003, so was it her death that led to First Escape's cancellation? Most people believe that because she died, the game was cancelled out of respect for her. It's the only logical explanation, and as of right now, to my knowledge, there hasn't been any other possible reason as to why it was never finished. A playable demo was created, but ultimately the game's development stopped entirely. If all this wasn't depressing enough, comic book writer and artist Chris Warner drew the illustrations for the storyboards, and John Carpenter would have had an active role in the game's music, considering he was also the composer for both movies. A lot of people say that First Escape reminds them of Dead to Rights, another third-person shooter also developed by Namco Hometek in 2002, a year before the creation of First Escape began and the demo for the game even used the engine from Dead to Rights. These pieces of concept art were done by Francisco Ruiz Velasco from Hellboy 2 and Pacific Rim fame, and Tim Teo from Dead to Rights. I find it fascinating how this game was practically fully complete with a bunch of talented and well-known creative minds involved, but then got shelved at the last minute. It's really a shame because it looked like tons of fun. It's hard to imagine if it was going to do well financially, but it definitely would have been an underrated gem that I would have loved to review on this channel. In the name of Snake Plissken, welcome to the human race.
Welcome to the human race.